Alright, hello and welcome to the second episode of BSRA. My name is Snowy and I'm currently ranked number 14 on the global score Saber leaderboards. If you haven't seen the previous video, this series is supposed to be a bit of a deep dive into a specific Beat Saber replay. I'll be talking about the player, commentating over the replay, and going over certain parts of the map. Hopefully this series will help you guys have a better understanding of how top plays are made and how you can improve. So today's topic is the importance of accuracy. Also, side note, I made this logo in Paint 15 minutes ago, and I'm not very artistically inclined, but we make do with what we have, right? Okay, so I got a comment on my last video from a player named TastyVR who wanted me to talk about how to reduce misses in gameplay because that was what they felt was holding them back. So I took a look at their Score Saber profile to get an idea of what they were talking about, and I watched a few of the replays on semi-difficult to really difficult maps like Villain Virus, Bang and Burst, or M1917. And I noticed, they didn't actually miss that much. The thing about missing in Beat Saber is that it's not really as destructive as in many other rhythm games. I mean, don't get me wrong, it feels like soul-crushing to miss on a really good run, but the silent killer in Beat Saber is really accuracy. Like, maybe it's just me, but a lot of times if I play through a map without missing notes, I think to myself, yeah, that's the best I could have possibly done. But that's not really true. There are a lot of easy things you can do to get higher accuracy on maps. So today I got TastyVR's permission to use one of his replays on the ranked map M1917, mapped by Aki and Lope. And I'll also be comparing this to my own play on the map, which is a top 10 play, I think number 7 or something. And we're just going to be talking about different parts of accuracy and how you can get better accuracy on ranked maps or just any map in general. Alright, so thanks to a suggestion from Zillion the Great on Discord, I decided to change my hit score visualizer mod settings a little bit from the last video. Once again, if you don't know what Hitscore Visualizer is, it's a mod which allows me to apply colors to the scores of my cuts so that whenever I hit a block, I can just look at the color and tell how good my cut was. So since this is an accuracy video, I feel like I should do a small rundown of the scoring system. So imagine this is a block. There are a maximum of 115 points for every single block. 70 of those points come from a 100-degree swing into the block. 30 of those points come from a 60-degree follow-through out of the block. And the last 15 points come from hitting really close to the geometric center of the block. So splitting the block in half, basically. And it can either be straight down the middle, top to bottom, so there's two parts on the left or right, or in half diagonally as well. So for my hit score visualizer settings, anything that is below 100 points will be a yellow or red color. Anything that's above 100 points is going to be a green color. Anything that is above 110 points is going to be a purple color. And anything that is either 114 or 115 is going to be a white color. 115 will be underlined, but you probably won't be able to see it anyway. So those are my hit score visualizer mod settings. Anyway, let's keep going. Almost forgot. One last thing to note is that my play is on the right and TastyVR's play is on the left. So we're mainly going to be watching TastyVR's play, but I'm going to occasionally use my play as evidence for points that I'm going to bring up later. All right, let's continue. So right off the bat, we have this quick one-handed section. TastyVR's accuracy is actually pretty decent on this section. He could be swinging a little bit higher on some of these swings, especially the right hand. But basically, like I said before, you need an 100-degree pre-swing and then a 60-degree follow-through in order to get maximum points on every note. So let's assume that you're hitting the very corner or very edge of the block, right? In the worst case scenario of getting absolutely no accuracy points at all, you should still be seeing green because swing angle accounts for 100 of the total 115 points the block can give. So it's kind of free points because you don't even really have to aim your saber. You could just swing as hard as you possibly want and still get 100 points for each block in the worst case. So if you're seeing scores below 100 in any way, shape, or form, you aren't swinging large enough. That's just something to note. Okay, so this is a double section. Basically, because the 15 points of accuracy come from hitting close to the geometric center of the note, right there is where the geometric center. You can actually swing vertically into these diagonal notes and still get the exact same amount of accuracy as if you were to swing diagonally into these notes. So for anyone who maybe has trouble swinging diagonally, like really straight diagonally, you can swing straight up into these vertically. It might take a little bit more stamina because you're going to have to like move your whole body right. But sometimes it's a good idea if you struggle swinging diagonally. Okay, so more doubles. We get to this section that I think is called the polyrhythm section. I'm not so sure about that because it goes into music theory stuff a little bit, but you might have to fact check me on that. I think this is called a polyrhythm. And then we have a small burst stream, so I'm going to talk about those later. And a short section with some one-handeds. And now we get to the part where most people start to miss. Okay, so this is actually a really common place to miss on this map because the song speeds up very quickly. Basically, because the section is so fast, I slowed it down a little bit so you guys can see exactly what's going on. So that's why the song sounds really slow. So right here, basically, there's a triplet and then a semi-triplet. It's sort of a quadruplet, but it's actually like 3 swings. And then there's followed by a quadruplet. So the first triplet is 1, 2, 3 right there, blue, red, blue. And let me erase these real fast. So there's the first triplet. And here's the second triplet, which is technically a quadruplet, I guess. Is 1, 2 swings, and then, or 2 notes with 1 swing. That's the second triplet. Tasty actually misses the third note of this triplet, which is, he misses like 2 notes on this run, which is actually not bad at all. But the blue note, the third note right there, right here, is the easiest one to miss by far because it's so fast in the triplet. Most people think this is a stream and they swing all the way through it, but that's actually a triplet. And then we have our quadruplet right here at the end. 1, 2, 4, which is fairly easy to hit. Most people miss that third blue note, but then you have a quadruplet, which is pretty easy. And that transitions into a stream. Yeah, so there's Tasty misses that note. And then we transition into the stream. So here's where I want to talk about something super important, and that's aim. So especially during these fast sections, you need to keep up good accuracy, even if the notes are moving like really fast. So first we're going to watch Tasty and look at where their sabers are going during this stream. And then we're going to watch my play and look at where my sabers are going during this stream. And then we're going to compare and talk about where you should aim during fast sections. Okay, so I'm going to play this for about 5 seconds, and I want you to watch on Tasty's screen how high his swings are, so like swing angle, and I also want you to watch how far right his blue saber is moving to hit these notes on the outside lane over here. All right, so let's get it started. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't think he's swinging large enough. We can see those yellow scores coming in, which indicates that Tasty's getting less than 100 points on some hits, meaning that the swings are just too small in general. But also, Tasty's right hand is actually not far right enough on those notes. So this is a mistake that I still make all the time, because it's much harder to judge where the center of the note is on the outside lanes, like on these 2 lanes, than it is on the center lanes. So from my experience, players tend to swing farther inward on the outside lane notes than need be, probably just because they're trying to conserve stamina or keep your arms close to your sides. But I would advise trying to swing a little farther out than is comfortable, because if you're losing accuracy on the outside lane notes, that's probably why. And so now I want you to watch Tasty's screen again, but I want you to watch how far his red saber is moving right. Okay, so from this, we can see that Tasty's left hand is not actually moving far right enough for all the accuracy points. I used to have this problem way worse than I do now, but this is a pretty good example of just not swinging far enough. I fixed this problem in myself by just watching my own replays and making it a point to swing far enough no matter how fast the notes are coming. But maps with like complex streams are a great way to fix this issue. So I'll link some good maps for this type of thing in the description below because this is a pretty widespread problem that happens like all the time. So now we're going to move to my point of view on the right side, and we're just going to look at the same things that we looked at Tasty's view, but in my view. So remember, watch for my swing angles, watch for how far my blue saber goes on the right, and how far my red saber goes on the right. So you should see a slight difference, but the slight difference should make a lot of difference in score. So obviously my swings aren't perfect, but if you're able to get your red hand or your red saber far right enough to hit those notes on the third lane, and you're able to get your blue saber far right enough to hit those notes on the outside lane, lane 4, then you'll get a way better score on these fast streams. And this is a pretty widespread problem, which is why I bring this type of thing up. Okay, so this next part of the song is actually just pretty like uninteresting in terms of things to talk about, so we're probably just gonna wash through it. Just one-handeds and doubles. Alright, and now we get to a really fast polyrhythm section. So this is basically just all ups and downs, but if you're missing here, it's probably because of timing. By that I mean like swinging too fast or swinging too slow. There are triplets intertwined in this section, and they're kind of hidden at first. So those are probably going to be what trips people up the most. But then we have some doubles. And now we get to the chorus, or double section, I guess. So remember what I said about doubles earlier. You can swing it diagonals vertically. And duck bombs. Alright, so now we get to this section with moving streams. I like these streams a lot because they require people to swing a lot. They're basically just moving streams, but they force you to swing like maximum swing angle. So it's almost always an accuracy boost for people because people aren't able to skimp out on swinging correctly. And then we get to the chorus. Okay, so now we get to the chorus. So these notes right here are pretty interesting because they don't show up often in songs. I would just recommend focusing on whichever note gives you the most trouble. So for me, it's the side note that gives me the most trouble. Just because it's a side note. If you just focus like your gaze on that note, then there's like a really low chance that you're going to get a bad cut on either of these. And you really don't want to get a bad cut on these because this whole chorus section is really slow, and it gives like a free accuracy boost just in the middle of the song. So try not to miss these. Also, don't hand clap. These are slightly hand clappy, I guess, but try not to smash your controllers together. So this section is actually really cool. It plays like a stream, so like red, or blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. But then there's a stack here, and then that stack resets into another blue. So it's almost like you go from a stream to a blue and then into another stream. It kind of like bounces a little bit. Like you leave your red saber up for a little bit longer than normal. I think this is mapped really well, and 8th Key did a really good job. Or Lalope, I don't know who actually made the map, but this section itself is actually like really fun to play. So we have some more doubles and singles. Here's another like small polyrhythm section, maybe. Once again, I'm not 100% sure if it's called polyrhythm. And those are V streams. I'm going to talk about those in a later video. At least I call them V streams, so that might not be like widely accepted terminology. Some doubles. So these are called sliders. There are like whole slider maps, so I'm probably not going to go like deep into it in this video, but basically just try to swing in like one continuous motion all the way through these and try to hit the center of all 3 notes. It's really difficult to hit the center of all 3 notes And there are like people who have very specific accuracy on sliders and they're really good at it. And it takes like a decent amount of practice. So just try to swing like one swing through all three notes. Maybe swing a little bit slower than normal. Just try not to miss any of these because if you miss like the whole stack, it'll be like really devastating. Another stream. So now we get this really large polyrhythm section. Once again, I think it's called the polyrhythm. This is actually easier than the section at the beginning of the map because there's no triplets. It's just a bunch of like single, double, except that triplet at the very end. Alright, this is actually my favorite pattern. Alright, I guess I should say this is my favorite pattern in this map. It's just like a really small thing, but it's just like a blue into a double, into two blues here, and then a stream, a left-handed stream. It's just a small thing, but I think it really fits the music well, so. We get back to the chorus. Remember to focus on one of these notes, so like the blue or the red, whichever suits you the best, I guess. And we get another like kind of bouncy stream, which I think the bounce is like right here. How you like start with a stream, right? Like red, blue, red, or blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, and then you have a stack, and then you have another single blue, red afterwards. So remember, practice this. It shows up a lot in this map, so if you play the map, you should get used to it. More singles and doubles, occasional stacks. This is quick polyrhythm section, I think, you know. And here's a stream, really small. And coming up, we have the triple section. First, there are a couple stacks, doubles, and triple section. So the thing about the triplets in this map is they're actually done very well, meaning there aren't gallops. There isn't really anything difficult about these, but they do move back and forth, like from lane 1, 2 to lane 3, 4. So you have to watch for that. Basically, I would just aim for the center of the first block. So like, here's a triplet right here. Aim for the center of the blue block, or like look at that note, and then just let your other saber follow through, because the second hit is just going to be a natural flow from where the first hit goes, and the third hit is just straight above the first hit. So it's really easy to just kind of like bounce back and forth, like almost it's a little bit of like a bouncy motion. You go from like lane 3-4 to lane 1-2 to lane 3-4, lane 1-2, back and forth, and that's this whole triplet section. So like bounce left, right, left, right, left, right, you know, like that. Okay, so this is interesting because it looks really confusing with the stacks here. But the stacks actually don't add like all that much, except for he's just mapping like on beat, or with emphasis, sorry. So this whole thing is just 4 notes on the right, and then like a 1-1 roll across, and it is that the entire time. So if you get confused by these stacks or something, just know that it literally is just the same pattern repeating 3 times. So there's 4 notes on the right, and then it rolls over. So you watch. 4 notes, rolls over. 4 notes, rolls over. 4 notes, rolls over. So it's pretty simple. He doesn't actually miss that note. His combo doesn't go down. So even though it said it missed, it's not actually a miss. Okay, more stacks and single notes. A slow stream. Nothing too complex. And okay, so here's where we're going to talk about the side effects of incorrectly aiming. So Tasty's fairly far into the song, so it should be a little bit harder to tank his accuracy at this point. He has a 92.4%. Sorry if you can't see the like actual accuracy. I'm still working out the camera settings. But I want you to focus on 2 things in this next slow-mo section. I want you to focus on how far right his blue saber is aiming to hit these notes in lane 4. And I want you to watch how far right his red saber is aiming to hit these notes in lane 3. Alright, so let's watch. See how he's kind of side-swiping the notes? His side-swiping is actually going to cause him to drop this blue note right here. It doesn't say bad cut in the replay, but I think it's just a replay bug because his combo drops to 0 right there. So I'm pretty sure he just got a bad cut on that because he was hitting it like too diagonally. And then he's also going to drop this note right here on the bottom of the stack. So at this point, Tasty has a 91.6. So he went from a 92.4% bad symbol to a 91.6%. One of those misses was pretty justified because he wasn't swinging fast enough on the stack, but the other one was just because he was trying to sideswipe that upper blue note, which was like right here or something like that. So I know it's hard during these fast streams, but you really have to move your arms a little bit farther than is normally comfortable. So doing so will help you reduce misses, as you won't be swinging your arms in between lanes, potentially getting bad cuts or barely missing notes that you otherwise would have hit. So don't fall into the trap of like swinging between lanes 2, 3, and 1, 4, because it can lead to bad cuts and misses like we've seen here. Not to mention that sometimes he's hitting yellows, which means like that one, which means that he's just not swinging large enough on some of these hits. Remember, those are free points, so get the swing angle. And then we have a small slow section right here. We have some weird sliders and doubles. Remember, you can hit these vertically. All right, so these are circular streams. They're actually, like, they look really complicated, but they're actually really simple. Just move your arms in circles. The right arm should be moving counterclockwise, so like this. And the left arm should be moving clockwise like this. It's really not that complicated once you get the hang of it. These are windows. I'll probably do like a whole video on these later, but just do one huge continuous swing through it. It's basically just 3 notes, but there is no middle note. So just swing really large. I'll probably do a video on these later. Into the chorus again. Remember to hit or focus on one of these notes. Here's another bouncy stream that we already talked about. And now we get to a jump section. So I'm probably going to make a whole video on jumps later, but just for the sake of this map, know that the jumps are mapped pretty well. So there isn't like a whole lot of wrist twisting and stuff. The side to side jumps, like right here, how it's like side to side, can be pretty hard for people. But just pay attention to the beat of the song and trust that the notes are going to be on beat. Because no matter how far they are from each other, the notes are always going to be mapped on beat. I mean, it's a ranked song, so people look at this stuff. Okay, so for the final part of this song, the jumps kind of like morph into a left-handed polyrhythm section, which is actually new. It's not shown up yet in this map, so the red is mapped faster than the blue. And then it morphs into a stream with stacks. So the stacks can look scary, but just know that they're basically bottom row notes, but they just force you to swing like a little bit larger than you might already swing, and you should be swinging larger anyway. So the stacks like this one and that one, they really don't do a whole lot. It's just mapping to emphasis of the song. And then the rest of the song is just single and double notes occasionally, so it's really not so bad. And that's it. So once again, my name is Snowy. If you enjoyed or want to give any feedback, you can leave it in the comments below or shoot me a DM on Discord at Snowy1549. Honestly, if you just want me to go over like a certain map or topic, you can just mention it in the comments below and I'll try my best to find a good replay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again.